See.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Salamanca City Central School District acknowledges the homeland of the Anandawaka, the Seneca people, the people of the Great Hill, the people whose ancestral and modern-day land Salamanca School District now stands and whose water we enjoy. We stand with all Indigenous peoples in their resolve to remain connected to their land. While we cannot undo what has been done, it is the goal of the Salamanca City Central School District to recognize the history and make improvements that will benefit the next 7 generations of Indigenous students.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. Once a month, we have one of our board meetings set aside for presentations, and it looks like we have quite a few going on today. First things first, Mark, do we have any?
Let's see. Agenda changes. We do. We have a couple items. We added the legal counsel approved resolution and Exhibit A to Section 5. We are a little bit ahead of schedule, so we added item B to Section 5, which is the capital project Phase 4 construction lighting bid. We added the IBC meeting minutes from March 11th, and just recently, because the Odyssey of the Mind team took second place in their competition, we have added their approval for their travel to the world competition scheduled in late April.
Great, thank you. Okay, with that, I mean approve for a motion to approve the agenda. Motion, Brad. Thank you, Brad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Okay. Next, we have a budget presentation meeting or presentation. But thanks, Karen.
Right. See again. Last but not least is benefits, BOCES, and debt service on the 26-27 budget. Again, what we know, retirements is still at 8. I don't know why I put that on there again. Tax levy is at $250,000 and will remain there regardless of where we end up. Unknown still, state aid. We hope to have a budget by April 1st, and if we do, I will be shocked because I don't think there's going to be one on April 1st. Also, CSU and STA are still in negotiations, and we don't know the outcome of those as of yet. So benefits based on existing salaries, without those two contracts being resolved yet. So last year we had $12.6 million in salaries and I'm sorry, not in salaries, in benefits. And in 26-27 projected right now, we're at $13.6 million. So it's about a 7% increase without those two unions being taken into account. Insurance itself went up 8%. Retirement looks like it took this huge dive, and that is sort of because we didn't have as many retirees this year. So when people retire, it's a 3-year look back on their payments for unused time in their retirement awards. So we have fewer retiring last year and this year. So that's why it looks like it's a -800. Unemployment looks like it's a huge increase of, if you just look at the percentage of 400%, but it's going from 5,000 to 25,000. We have a few more unemployment claims than we've had in the past. And we pay based on actual, so we don't pay on a lot of companies, not public utilities or municipalities. But they will pay a specific rate on unemployment. We pay based on actual unemployment. So actually what's going out the door, we reimburse the state for that. Next is BOCES. So right now, our contract is at $9.6 million. Next year, it looks like we're at 10.366. There's a couple of numbers that I'm still waiting on, so it might be a little bit more. It's about an 8% increase overall. The majority of it is just like last year in special ed, due to those increased costs for that. There's several other costs that are increased as well, like athletics went up 20%. Put my glasses on. Their admin and capital are up 8 and 4%. Personnel is up 10%. Those are the things that they administer our health plan and our workers' comp plan, so we have to pay for that service. Part of it, we are reimbursed for aid, but part of it we are not on the personnel end. So there's really just increases across the board, like anything, costs are going up. And that service, so for 26, 27, we'll pay out $2 million in debt service. Our current outstanding debt is just over $6 million. And interfund transfers, last year we had 935,000. I'm looking at $1 million this year. Partially the increase is the special aid fund transfer. We have to cover 20% of the cost of tuition for the New York State School for the Deaf and no, that's the St. Mary's School for the Deaf in Buffalo that we have to pay for a student to go to. So that cost has increased, as well as transportation costs for that student. So our share of that obviously goes up as well. And then for food services, even at 850,000, I think that's going to cover us for all the stuff that we do within food services. Next time, we'll have an overview of the entire budget, and you'll hopefully adopt that budget then. Otherwise, we'll have another board meeting between then and the 24th, because the 24th is the last day to adopt it. And then on the 12th is the full budget hearing, and on the 19th is the break. Questions?
All right, any questions? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Karen. Okay, our next presentation is on grants.
In front of you, you should have a form that looks like this. I'm going to scoot down to this end. I'm just going to go line by line over the sheet that I've given you, but on the front part, you'll see grants that we have applied for and successfully received. And then on the back, you'll see works in progress, I like to call it. What we've submitted, what we're considering, and what we're currently working on, as well as grants that don't really show the money, but they're non-cash awards. Okay. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present here this evening. I'm Sandy Brundage, if you don't know me. So there are reasons why we're applying for grants. That's okay. To highlight all the good work that's going on in the district, and you hear about this, and you're going to hear about this tonight with all the wonderful students and staff and good things that we have going on here at the district. That's the goal, is to highlight what we're doing. To comply with New York State and federal grant requirements, to pursue additional funding streams, and most importantly, to cover my salary. The whole grant rule of thumb. Make yourself feel comfortable. Okay, so how does that align with district goals? How do these grants that we're applying for align with district goals? So when we're considering them, we look at the district goals and try to match up grants. And make students smarter. You're going to see here in Kayla Hager's class from Sheldon and Kenny doing agricultural education in the classroom. Being smarter, educating them. In this situation, they're learning about eggs and actually hatching them in the class. Creating a culture of trust. So you recall that we had the DCJS workforce grant last summer and had a number of students who participated in that and got to know staff better and a more intimate understanding of all the functions of the school. Improve attendance. So how does that align with this picture? Let's see Karen and Tim Koski. Attendance is related to indoor air quality. This is part of the indoor air quality grant. This is one of the monitors. So students who are sick and or struggling with things like asthma don't have as good attendance, and therefore our goal to keep the building safer and healthier. And we're diversifying funding streams as much as we can. Always look, I get probably at least once a week, someone that reaches out to me and says, hey, what about this? Can you apply for this? I think it just happened today. What do you think about that? And always looking for ways to improve our district, which is hard to do because it's going to be the premier school district, which is another goal of mine personally and for some. So here's some examples. So this is the New York Agriculture and Markets. So you'll recall the food truck was a grant funded program, New York Foods for New York Families, where we handed out New York produce and veggies to kids and adults. And then John's crew learned about composting education and working in the garden. That's one of the new funding streams. EPA Go Green Initiative is the second. Again, this is indoor air quality monitors. And that grant, again, the school received as one of 10 in the nation. And the next slide is referring to the Magna Award that you as a board have won. And that is one of 5 in the nation. And that is because of the work that's been done behind the scenes by Rich and his crew and others, Tim, myself, Karen, Nikki, Kim, the folks at Prospect to improve the indoor air quality. So congratulations. The USDA grants, again, is related to gardening. And here you see a photo of the garden in progress when we had our planting day. And then, of course, all the New York State Education Department grants, and those are ever changing and moving. Kayla's going to talk about the fresh fruit and vegetable program, but the summer food service program will be offered again this summer. That's SFSP, starting on July 6th, and we're expanding that again and looking to do non-congregate meal distribution at 4 different locations throughout the school district, including the ACC, the youth center, Highland Playground, and O's gas station. DEC grants, so composting again. So here's a picture of our pumpkin smash that we did, John and myself last fall. And we just got a DEC grant for 87,000 and some change to look at food scrap recycling, so that we're not, the foods that we are preparing in the kitchen, the scraps, can be weighed, measured, and recycled instead of making more garbage. And then we also have access private foundations, so No Kid Hungry. We met with them again, and they hopefully will ask us to apply again for some non-congregate meal funding for the summer. Ralph Wilson Junior Foundation, you will see Rich, Chad, and I are going to go and look at the space around the track. We've got some outdoor adult exercise equipment that will be going in there. The Chef Ann Foundation, Stepping Stones, and the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities grant, which has been a really good funder and provided us with a lot of stuff that we need. And so here's just for those who like pie charts, here's a picture of grant funds. The number's a little outdated because we just added the NYSERDA on-site energy manager grant that we were just awarded. So there's 110,000 there that's not in there yet. But you can see kind of the breakdown of, we still have the bulk of our grants are federal, with some New York State and then private funds as well. Again, just looking at new funding streams, and just for the group, I put in a picture of myself going up on the roof of Prospect because I'm that guy looking at the air filters and making sure that they're cleaned and there's a system. And of course, Rich and his guys are well on top of it. Future potential. So there's lots of, again, funding streams that I probably, again, get asked for on a daily basis, if not a weekly basis. Ideas that are generated that are really good ideas, things that we want to pursue. So here's one. Oh, no, not yet. Okay. And again, looking at academy growth, we're currently fleshing out, the Farm to School Academy and looking at creating an FFA, group, a Farm to School coordinator, expanding the garden space. And that one just seems to be coming together organically. It seems like what we're applying for is well funded by New York State. There's an idea right there. Who wants it? We can go. Never too late. Okay, question. Great. I appreciate the opportunity to give information, and I hope to provide you with a monthly update.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
A lot of positive.
Did anyone use this ring on their way in?
Red.
It is. I will do that.
Right, roll.
Okay. Well, now we're scanning out Oswego. It's good to see you all here today. Today we're gonna hear to talk about all the cool stuff the NAC team has been up to. We've got all kinds of cool stuff to share, so I kind of feel like Ace Ventura a little bit when he has to breathe in.
Yeah.
So I can get it all out. And we're gonna do that here in just a second and kind of share those things with you. We do apologize for our attire. We have been starting our maple project today, building a fire pit and things like that. So we've been kind of in and out of the building. And also I got a baseball game to get to real soon, okay? So I'm gonna hand it over to Andrew, who's gonna, are we on the? Sorry, hang on, guys. I think it was on a timer.
Well, I'll start as we get to it.
Yeah.
In October of 2025, we had Honoring Our Roots Student Conference. And we had a contest for the logo, the design, and one of our students from our school was there. It was really nice. And it started from the original NARC, Native American Regional Forum, which we changed to the Western New York Indigenous Education and Advocacy Network, where about 8 school districts that service Indigenous students from the contracting schools got together, and from NAR, or Winnie, the awesome staff and all the school districts decided that this is something that we've heard the kids been talking about. And it took about 2 years, and it happened this past October. And through it, they had many contemporary and traditional workshops that the students could attend, and then accumulated with a nice social dance, and we had wonderful free raffles for the students, and it was really exciting. Daryl Toner was there, who is a Tuscarora psychologist, and he really did some awesome things there.
All right, so it's on a timer, so we're just gonna talk, all right? Peruse the pictures at your leisure.
I got it right here.
So this one is some of our images that we took from our visit with the 4th grade leaders to Gakuyo. So if you're unaware, that's the Seneca Nation farm located in Collins, New York. And typically our process, if someone reaches out and asks for something, we want to be a part of it. And so we went with them and we got to enjoy a late season berry harvest. They took a tour of the farm. They saw the honey harvest. They have bees on site, and so that was a really cool thing we got to observe. We checked out the maple equipment that they have. We are real beginner level when it comes to maple, so it was really cool that they were able to do that. And then they finished their day braiding some of the white corn that had been harvested, and they were 4th graders braiding little braids of corn, so that was really cool. Yeah. And then next is, or no, okay, so next we would also talk about our garden. So our garden this year was the first year that we actually were successfully able to grow the white corn on campus. And our team, if you have not figured it out, we work pretty frequently with white corn. And so we really wanted to grow on campus and we wanted to develop that seed to table curriculum. And so we grew white corn out back. We were really lucky to have some awesome helpers. Taylor Hager was one of our biggest helpers there. And then the Farm to School grant, I think, also helped support that. So it was really exciting for us. We were dealing with a little bit of, maybe not the most fertile soil, but I think just with a lot of love and water, we had a really great harvest. And so we're hoping to grow a little bit better, a little more corn this year. And throughout the presentation, we'll talk about the different ways that we use the white corn, but we just wanted to give a little credit to our little garden.
Yeah, it's great to flag with the 305, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the next thing we wanted to share about is before I continue, I just want you all to know that a lot of the things that are featured in today's presentation has to do with classroom integration and working directly with teachers and students. Because we also do, in addition to that, a lot of presentations and things like that, in collaboration with outside, like a group will come and they want to see what we're all about, and so we'll present to them. We're on April 1st, I don't know if you know this, but on April 1st, we're also going to be presenting to administrators and just on cultural things. And so we have other things that we're doing, but what you're seeing today is really about the integration that we're actually doing in the classroom with students and teachers. Which brings me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the fourth grade. We did some collaboration with the fourth grade teachers to integrate our creation story in with their geography lesson. We talked about, like, we really used the cultural connection with the two, concepts like, where does the term Mother Earth come from, and the things that are on the earth. And so we created this, and we are going to be having it available for other people to use in the area. I've I've given it out to some teachers in the local area, in particular the Faith Keeper School, who was able to use that information and tie in geography in with what they are already culturally doing. So those are some kind of things that we've been doing as far as the curriculum work. So the next thing we're going to talk about, Andrew's going to talk about, is the nixtamalization of our corn, and that stuff, all of that is in with that.
So a shout out goes out to Mrs. Johnson when I came here in 2017, and we've always been nixtamalizing corn in the Haudenosaunee area in the North and South Americas. And when I wanted to know what we were doing and seeing, she helped us scientifically go through that process and learn nixtamalization with the 8th graders. And so from then on, it's been filtering in and out. And our new high school Seneca language teacher that took Rachel's place, Ms. Inez Gilson, wanted to have this with her Seneca language to students. And so nixtamalization is something that's really connecting us and integrating science with traditional. And so we started with shelling and sorting, and then nixtamalizing and drying and grinding and mixing that flour into a loaf, if you will. And the basis of it was that it's our traditional cornbread, and it is not the fried bread, which is our survival food that was given to us through commodities. So this is the message that we're trying to get, that it's one of our main staples. And so now, hopefully, my goal before I retire in June is that the Indigenous Studies and Ms. Gilson's class, who have a lot of Indigenous students, learn the process, because sometimes we can just taste the food, but if we don't know how we got it from the beginning, so they're going to be learning mush and cornbread and corn soup, which is 3 different styles of cooking and processing it from the ground that the Indigenous Studies students are going to be planting, and then they'll harvest it in the fall and really making a complete site.
Oops. These are just some more pictures of the process, the students in this process. So one of the cool things that we get to do is it really worked with a teacher who has a really awesome idea. And so it has looked different. None of the big projects that we're doing is really kind of like, it's a lot of it's new. And so what we'll do is we'll come up with the lesson, we'll bring in, people to enhance the lesson, and then we have it set. And so then that teacher can, in essence, proceed with that for years to come. So one of the projects that we were really proud about this year was this suspense unit. We had the 8th grade teacher who is teaching a unit on suspense and wanted to know if there was any culture relevant stories that they could bring in to kind of, satisfy that unit on suspense. And so what we did is we thought of a traditional story. This story that we thought of is the flying head. And so basically, in essence, what it is, it's a story of this flying head creature that is chasing a girl through the woods, and she, takes off articles of clothes and different items to try to get to distract, I guess, this flying head beast. And so, does he get her? I don't know. That's the suspense part of it. So that was really cool. The kids got to learn that traditional story. We had local artists do the artwork for it because that's a story that's you're not going to find illustrated in books. So we had a local artist do the illustrations for that and also do the Seneca language for it as well. And so now the Seneca language classes also now have that as a tool that they can use for more of a reading, Seneca language immersion type style of resource. So then to amp that up, to bring that home, we had a local puppeteer come in, and she did the story of the flying head using the Japanese shadow puppets. So it was really cool. All the 8th grade students got to be a part of that, and they used that in their understanding of suspense. So it just was a really awesome way to tie that in. So we were pretty happy and proud about that one.
So next we have the Buffalo Museum of Science, and this one wasn't specifically for the kids, this was for us. We always have to continue our learning, and as Rachel said, this stuff doesn't always exist, and so it comes with a lot of research and finding people and making connections. And so we were asked we had a few requests early in the year, and so we decided to take a field trip to the Buffalo Museum of Science. And we had a chance to look at their collection of indigenous objects and materials, but they had a lot more Haudenosaunee materials than they, I think, realized, and they had exactly what we were looking for. We were there for some bone tools, and they had so much more than that. So it was really great. We were able to build a nice relationship with them. We're able to bring students to observe their collection and work with it in the future. And they actually had classroom materials that weren't appropriate for them to have on display in their museum. And so we're working with them on something in the future to see if we can get those here and in other parts of the community. So we're really proud of that relationship we started to build. And through this, we've actually been given other science or museums in the area of Buffalo that we can work with and that they have collections. And to not be afraid of working with Native communities, even if they have material they shouldn't. We're not tickled for the nation. They have a whole department, and it wasn't our intention to try to take anything. And so it was really cool that they were open to it and good relationships.
That's what I was gonna ask you, is the tickle there, so maybe you can actually working with them on that.
We didn't have to actually. People are doing their own much larger scale repatriation.
Yeah.
What we're doing is nothing like ceremonial.
Yeah.
So these are just classroom objects that would make more sense for us to have as material culture. So looking forward to it. And then the next one, I'm sorry if you have a queasy belly, get over it, because this is where our food comes from. So this was a really exciting project. If you haven't seen already, we do a lot with food, not because it's all that matters, but we know there's so many aspects of food that we can learn from, whether it's the science behind processing the corn or building that relationship with the natural world. But we also wanted to take it a little further. And so we try to do for each season a really big food project. We try to incorporate as many students as we can in a meaningful way. And I just really wanted to bring deer here And so we're really lucky, the STEAM room, they were willing to share their space with us. And again, we collaborated with Gakuyo. They were able to harvest 2 deer and we only asked for 1, so we were really grateful for that. We worked with Mr. Frazier, his life science, and then his anatomy and physiology class. So the students were able to observe the deer being processed, learn about the traditional practices and tactics for hunting, and then the anatomy and physiology class is where they were a little hesitant, but I think they were okay. They kept the guts for us and froze them, and then we explored. And so some students had a little bit stronger stomach and some didn't, but it was a really great opportunity to work with food and to see our food in that way, and not just the McDonald's drive-through.
Can we give a shout out to Mr. Pinkowski?
Yeah.
If you're going to us, I mean, what a teamwork that we had with this year. It was awesome.
He sees us coming down to the grade now.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So the next integration that we did, and we just did this relatively recently. So if you have any 11th graders in here, hopefully you were part of this and got to do this. We worked with Jen Hoffman's 11th grade English class. She was doing a lesson on transcendentalism. And so she wanted to bring in, like, enhance more of a connection to it. And so what we done is we were able to create 4 different vestibules that were seasonally appropriate based on like things that they would see happening culturally, things that they would see happening in each season, what they would hear, what they would feel, what they would smell, the taste even, because we have some traditional foods that the kids got to sample from what would have been seasonally appropriate. So we created this, and then the students, the 11th grade students, came to each vestibule on a passport, and they kind of like, they filled out the passport that was like observations and what they could observe in there. And then they were able to take that information back and use their observations to create poetry based on their experiences in these little vestibules. So we did ask them to use your imagination a little bit. It's not at that time, it definitely was not 70 degrees or even hotter, but we created these different zones and we adjusted the temperature in them. So really it was kind of all 5 senses were really engaged, and they were able to use that in their observations and in their writing. So we hope that this is one of those that we can continue to do each year. These are just some more pictures of the different vestibules and the kids doing the work. And all right, and so then from that we also presented for the 11th and 12th grade environmental science. And basically it was just making that connection really to the different ways that Indigenous people take care of the earth and have, taken care of the earth for many years. And so it was really just kind of building that connection to the students and letting them know that that still is an important part, of our human world. So that was a good presentation that we did as well.
And then the 3rd grade maple tree tapping at Prospect is exciting. It's the start of our journey of the weathering of the SAT. And so over there we have a relationship with Seneca Nation Conservation Department, and Mr. Jefferson comes over and does a beautiful presentation of how do we identify a tree, how do we know when it's time to tap, and how do we know when it's time to stop. So the students are learning those things. We put the cultural piece in there and work with that. So it's starting with the 3rd, but the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th continue on into that story.
This integration happened like last week. It was pretty awesome opportunity as well. Once again, the 8th grade English teacher wanted to know if we had any contemporary Indigenous poets that we could introduce, that she could bring in the works for. And so through our research, we found this poet named Saria Taylor, and we had no idea about each other at all. And so we tried looking for a website, we tried looking for a phone number, and what happened was I Facebooked her. I went on Facebook Messenger and just thought I'd try, give it a try. And so I, of course, in that I had to explain who I was. No, I'm not a creeper. But here's who and what we do, or our work. I even sent her our page, our Facebook page, to kind of check out the kinds of stuff that we do, and that that we do have the best interest of incorporating Indigenous culture in with our curriculum. And from that, she got back to me. So I was like a little starstruck a little bit. I'm like, okay. So we had worked back and forth quite a bit. But really what happened is we selected a poem, and the reason why we chose her to begin with, she wrote a poem called I'm Thinking of Strawberries. And this poem is very closely connected to the way that we teach about the earth and things from the earth, and then considering your families and considering things in your life and showing gratitude. Really, that's what her poem's about. And so we took that poem and we gave it Mrs. Rosser, who did this project with us. She created a way for the students to interact with the poem, and the students were able to study the poem, take it apart and analyze it. And then we were able to Zoom with her. She Zoomed into all the 8th grade classes. She did a reading of her poem and had a Q&A session with the classes. And what came from that is some really beautiful poems that the students made based on her, like kind of her structure, inspired by her structure that she talked about in her poem, I'm Thinking of Strawberries. She Zoomed with us at first class was 8 o'clock, 8:10, and it was only like 5 there. So we were pretty thankful that she was able to get out of bed and do this. So we got to see at every stage, probably about the 10 o'clock time, she was like a little more energized, had caffeine in her. So it was good.
And then last but not least is, so tomorrow we will start our annual maple boil. And this is a project that we've been growing each year. And so the first year learned a lot about boiling maple syrup. And so we've kind of stepped up our game. And this is a project that we tap with 3rd grade, and then grades 4 through 7 have the chance to come out and learn different aspects of the process. They learn a lot about the traditional process. And then we also share some science and math. We worked with the other instructional coaches. Bill Johnson was a really big help to us in that. And so last year we put the curriculum outside, and we learned that it's really important that they do those, but we also learned that we didn't want to take away from the cultural aspect of it. And so we kind of rebuilt it a little bit this year, and we're going to ask the classroom teachers. We believe they're confident and educated enough for sure. And so we're hoping that they're going to complete the packets in their classroom without us, but if they need us, we're here. And we feel that what we share with the culture and get them the science out is that they'll be able to succeed with that. So we invite anyone to join us. We do have a pretty strict schedule out there for the classes, but if you are wanting to observe, we welcome anyone from the community to just come and observe. If you've never been a part of it, it smells amazing and it just brings good medicine.
And hats off to John, who allows our students to taste some turkey dogs that go into the sap, because it does need some fat in there, so kids love it.
Good.
Tell them where it is.
Nice job.
Tell them where it is, right? Not where it is. Oh, I don't know how to explain
So
that.
the parking lot. The parking lot, right here, you go to that fence and there's one door, and one entry, and you go in. And they just keep walking.
And if you really still need to know, email us and I'll email you a map. All right.
Buses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have on the agenda, is the youth council and the Senate Youth Dance Club.
While she's bringing it up, I'd like to introduce us. Yeah. I'm Michelle Redeye, the Native American Program Coordinator, but I'm also the Indigenous Youth Council co-advisor. Jake Hager is a co-advisor with me, but he is working the baseball game. So I'd like to introduce my 4 Indigenous Youth Council officers.
Mary Snell, my name's Lily, I'm a junior and I'm the president of Iris. Hi, I'm Charlie, I'm vice president and a senior.
Yeah, I'm Aislinn. I'm a secretary and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Noella, I'm a junior and I'm the treasurer. And then Aaron.
Scout everybody. So of course, you've heard us talk about SYD at the last few board meetings and education meetings, parent committee meetings, can't talk about it yet. Not discussion of this year, so we'll let them introduce themselves again. I'm Aaron Miller, Senate Youth Dancers. And then as you know me,
Nailing Scano, I'm Cheyenne, I'm Johnny John, I'm the president of SYD and I'm a senior.
Young Scale, my name is Toby Johnny here for SYD.
Nailing Scano, my name is Mary Jameson and I'm the treasurer.
So, as many of you may know, we were able to take this group plus a couple other, I have to tell you, so my little Tanner's in SYD, but y'all can't compete with a baseball game and lacrosse game going on. He did not come, but I do have something to share with him. We took a group of students to Las Vegas for the Impact Aid Conference, and our group was able to present. I did try to get a video on here, but sending it from my phone to my email and getting it on here just did not work in time. So I apologize, but feel free to check out the school's Facebook page all the way back to December, and you will see some cool videos and pictures from our Las Vegas trip. But we were asked to present at, or to submit a proposal to present at the Impact Aid Conference in Las Vegas. And the students did an amazing job. Our Indigenous Youth Council was able to share a little bit about Salamanca. And then the SYD group was able to do a little dance show. So we're gonna let the students share about, their experience in Las Vegas.
and there's a few students that again that are busy, sports, all kinds of stuff. So this is the group that we did get here, but not everyone. Mackenzie Carlos in here, and Brittany as well. So if you guys want to start.
Overall, I thought it was a great opportunity to go to Las Vegas. Conference was great. The coolest thing I saw out there was probably the sphere. Had really cool optics, and we even got to see a movie, Wizard of Oz. I think it was a great opportunity. It was really cool to share like our culture with people who might not be as knowledgeable. And it was just really cool.
I thought it was cool to speak in front of every different tribes and different different schools. And other tribes, when I saw them when they got hot and the thing, they came up to me and asked about it.
I'm very grateful for both experiences in DC and Vegas. Just being able to represent our school and our culture. Pretty cool.
Everything that we did in Las Vegas, but I think the most important thing was sharing and being our dancers and being able to share our culture with everybody out west. Not being able to go that far and showing everything that we can do.
I thought it was like a pretty surreal experience, like growing up like in such a small city and going to a pretty bright, massive city was pretty cool. And also talking and seeing different tribes there, getting different knowledge from other people, even sharing some of my knowledge about like our culture and everything was pretty cool.
I think it was a great I think it was a great idea to go out Vegas and represent the school and the Seneca Nation. And the great thing that I liked about the Vegas trip was the intro and in the sphere. And it was fun being in a small city, like my sister said.
I think it was a great opportunity to show everybody our culture and smoke dancing.
Fun, cool.
And so we were the last presentation before, I think it was before they had a break to go explore and rest and stuff, and it was awesome because when they saw us there and everyone had their regalia on and some folks came back in, they said afterwards that they were about to leave and then they saw our group and they wanted to come back in and check it out. And so many of them were recording and asking so many questions afterwards. So the presentation, you know, was fabulous. Who doesn't want to sit and hear about how awesome Salamanca is? But once we were able to share some of the cool things that we have and the great opportunities we have for not just our Indigenous students, but stuff that we offer for the whole district and community, our Seneca youth dancers were able to share our social dancing. And some folks did know what smoke dance was because it has made its way out west of powwows, but for the most part, it was pretty new to them.
Yeah, I mean, we like truly like captivated that room as we came in, and you could tell people were truly interested. And I think I can speak for all of us that we like blew the roof off that place. Like there was not something that they were really expecting. Oh, here's a school coming up, but we're gonna go to one. Then they all see us, and everyone was, you know, at attention pretty much. Like everyone's on. Like right now, you know, they're a little shy. We got the border here. But they're full of life, full of energy, representing their nations, their families, the school, and SYD and IYC, of course, very well. 2 Title VI programs, and then any opportunities, because we have seniors, we have 8th graders that are officers working together, collaborating, and as much opportunities like this as we can get, please send them our way. We're ready, we're prepared, we're always, you know, working in the war room pretty much, whether that's in the library, IYC, or SYD at our sessions. Always doing something, looking for the next new opportunity. Right now, the Rochester Nighthawks want us at their heritage. They're chomping at the bit to try to get us at their heritage month, next month day at the lacrosse game for the NLL. So we're going to try to work that out. I think I've been talking to a couple people about that. We have the MMIW. Or MMIP, Missing Indigenous Peoples Assembly, coming up for both Seneca and the high school on May 8th. Unfortunately, we're not able to do it on May 5th, which is MMIP Day, but you'll really see, you try to get there. Even if you have a day off, come into the assemblies, you'll see these guys in action, and that's when they really, that's their true self. So you got to see it.
So recently, recently, we were able to take the Indigenous Youth Council students, Seneca history class and Native crafts class down to Carlisle, which is, now it is an active Army barracks, but it was Carlisle Indian School, either way, it was a boarding school. We originally had about 40 students that we were ready to take down. IYC has done a ton of fundraising. We were able to seek donations. A lot of grant money has made this happen. And we ended up going with 29 students. We had some that stayed back due to sports or, you know, some other obligations. But this was the largest group that we traveled with. So if you don't know, we were able to take students to DC last year and then the year before we went to New York City. So this group has really been working hard to travel. Rachel Wolf co-teaches Seneca history with Brooke Canali, and they were 2 of our chaperones. So it just worked out that she covers Indian boarding schools right before we went down. We were able to set up the visit at Carlisle. We had someone from the Historical Society give us a tour, and we were able to see the spaces that Indigenous children lived in. We were able to see some buildings. We weren't allowed to go inside any, but they gave a very good tour it was interesting because it sparked a lot of conversation. So some of the students were like, well, they almost, seemed like they were trying to make it sound like it was a great place. But one of the things that Rachel explained to the group was, think about who's talking to you, who's presenting to you. Where are they coming from? You know, and if they're a government employee, maybe they cannot use language to explain it in a negative way. Because one of the things that they talked about, and I'll give the students a chance to share their experience too, but one of the things they talked about was how the documentation they had was all federal documentation. It was from the perspective of the staff at the boarding school. So if you guys want to take a second to talk about that, and then we'll move on to the DC part.
All right, I think it was very fascinating to be there. That was my first time visiting like a boarding school ever. And I agree with you said, like how they kind of made it seem like it wasn't as bad as it really was. But you know, I still got to learn a lot going there. That was a great opportunity. Yeah, it was sad, but you know, I still learned a lot. I want to talk about how when we were in DC, we got to meet with the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, and we really got to talk to them about the legal side of everything that has to do with like reservation and just like Native Americans in general, and just hear like their perspective on everything legally and getting to discuss.
I like. Okay, yeah, I agree with what they said about Carlisle, like they did say how they made it sound fun, but coming from everyone else, like the kids, I think would be like very different. And then, in DC, I like talking to the lobbyists.
We met with the lobbyists and then some senior staffers that, they work with the Seneca Nation, the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs.
Yeah, I
I'll
like
explain
talking
more
more
of that in a minute.
Again, I'm just grateful to go on this trip in school and represent us, and then this group was pretty cool.
So if anyone is interested on any literature, any movies, or any information on Indian boarding schools, reach out to Nat. I will say that in my experience, if you watch 1923, it is powerful. I had a grandfather that went to Thomas Indian School. He passed away a few years ago at the age of 98. And he didn't share as much as I would hope, but thinking about what that impact is on our students and our community is, my mom was raised by a parent who went to an Indian boarding school, and was stripped of his culture and language. When he passed, he was a fluent speaker, but he lost his culture. He no longer attended Longhouse. He started to go to church. So there's so much that was taken, and there was love, but the affection wasn't there. And that was stripped of him at the boarding school. So to think about how my mom was raised and then how she raised me, and because sometimes people might think, you know, an Indian boarding school, that was so long ago, but that trauma is passed down, it trickles down, and it shows in our families. So the students that you guys have in the school today, a lot of them are coming from that, and maybe their parents or grandparents did, you know, find a way to stop that cycle, but so much was lost, and there was a lot of love and affection that wasn't quite there that you would normally, I guess, expect or hope for children. But again, there's tons of stuff that the curriculum team can share with you if any of you want more information on that. So I did meet with Odie Porter quite a bit, who's the Seneca Nation tribal counselor. And she set up with us to meet with a lobbyist, Allison Binney in Washington, DC. She got us a tour of the Capitol. She also set up with us to meet with the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs. We met with about 6 senior staffers, and they had a chance to sit down and talk with our students. We only had a half an hour, but it went to almost an hour because they just had a great time with our group. and shared a lot about how legislation works and what they do on behalf of the Seneca Nation, and why is it important to understand how we're represented at the federal level, the state level, the local level. When we need things done as a tribal nation, we have to have these relationships with all different levels of government. So it really was an awesome experience, and they want us to come back sometime. You know, it's a pricey trip, so we'll have to definitely fundraise and figure some stuff out to go in maybe another 2 years. But it's something I would love to do. And what was so cool was that Justin Hubbard was just down there a few days before us. So Mackenzie Krause, who was in our group, decided not to go because she was there with him and then she didn't want to miss more school. But these opportunities for students to have that firsthand experience, talking to the folks down there, asking questions, walking around, seeing what happens down there is so important. And then we went to the Museum of the American Indian, and we had a visit there, which was so awesome. They were able to share with students about what the jobs are like in a space like that, what kind of education and training and things you need. And what was really cool was the one gentleman that talked to us, he kind of takes care of the exhibits. And one of the biggest issues was the bugs and critters that can get in there. And somehow there was moth that got into some old wool material, understanding how the HVAC works and all this stuff. So you go into all the Smithsonian museums down there, which we did later on. It was so cool to have that idea of what it takes for a place like that to function on a daily basis. Yeah. You're fine. So that was pretty much our trip. Anything else that you guys want to share about DC real quick? Covered everything. Okay.
Yeah, they crushed it though,
And
especially in that Senate room, they were,
Yeah.
Owen was actually there too,
Yeah.
started it off on fire with a great question. Couple of them had a stumpers on them and looking at each other, who want to take that into? The classic, but no, it was awesome.
they did great. Some great
And that's why I teach,
conversation.
join NYC, keep these programs going. We only do it because of the interest.
Any questions for us?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to commend each and every one of you, even though, and those that could not be here today. I know it could be a lot, growing up in a small town like Salamanca or the Allegheny territory, and getting out of our bubbles and going out there and challenging yourselves. And stepping out there, meeting new people, different nations and different tribes across the United States, whether it's in Vegas or whether it's down in DC, representing us. I got a ton of notes here. I'm just really proud of you guys for representing the Salamanca City Central School District, but also all Indigenous people and of course the Seneca Nation. And you guys should all be very proud of yourselves. And I know I am, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of my colleagues here as well. So I support this program moving forward and keep doing the work you guys are doing.
We're going to take a group to, so the National Indian Education Association Conference that we go to every October is in Buffalo. We're hoping to take students and a lot more staff.
You got my support.
Great.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm just going to introduce myself for those of you who do not know me. My name is Kayla Hager, and I'm the health teacher at Seneca Intermediate School. So today I'm here to talk to you about our fresh fruit and vegetable program, which Ms. Sandy Brundage talked about as a grant program that is provided to our school. So program overview, the fresh fruit and vegetable program, as I stated, is a grant funded program. It's awarded to our school to provide fresh fruits and vegetables free of charge to all students, pre-K through 6th grade. So the fresh fruits and vegetables are served twice a week. This is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They are served in the classroom during snack time. And at Prospect and Seneca, this looks a little different. At Prospect, we have our wonderful food service staff who make sure that everything is pre-portioned, sliced, diced, cut up perfectly for our younger students and delivered to the classroom. So that way teachers have their snacks available at the snack time whenever they're ready to take it throughout the day. At Seneca School, we have a refrigerator, which I added some photos in today, but I forgot to send you the updated PowerPoint, so you can't see them, and the kids are so excited to be in the picture, so maybe I'll forward those out in a little bit. But we have a refrigerator at our NPR area. If you are familiar with Seneca School, the NPR area is kind of like the hub of Seneca School. So we have our book vending machine, our snack refrigerator, Mrs. Butler's office, our cafeteria. And so students, what they do, a teacher will send a student down. They will go to the snack refrigerator, look in the bins. Our food service team, again, they're wonderful and have everything organized so well for us. So they have 4th, 5th, 6th grade. They'll open up the bin, grab their classroom snack bag, take it back, and they're ready to go for snack. And again, this is on just Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it's funded through New York State Department of Education Child Nutrition Program. You want to go to the next slide, please? So just a little bit about the grant for this school year, 25-26, we were awarded $43,800. And that's to provide 2 times per week. As I've said, it's a fresh fruit and a vegetable. 721 of our students, they benefit from this program. That I think we're going to look at enrollment numbers later, and that's about half of our students, which is wonderful. All of these grant funds go just to fresh fruits and vegetables. Myself and food service team, we kind of handle everything in-house, and all of that money goes just straight to the kids and the nutrition. Down here, we have a little bit more about the grant. I'm not going to read that to you word for word, but basically what it's saying is that this is free of charge. We receive it, the money for our students, as long as we provide nutrition education that is related to the fresh fruit or vegetable that is being served that day. So if you want to go to the next slide, please. So the goals of this program, we want to create a healthier school environment, which we already have a wonderful food service team that provides beautiful meals for us every day. But we wanted to expand the variety of fruits and vegetables that our children experience. So instead of just getting broccoli, carrots, cucumbers, they're experiencing new fruits or vegetables. For example, like mangoes, we've had different varieties of apples the children really enjoy. We want to increase the fruit and vegetable consumption. So instead of reaching for that bag of Takis that they tend to bring in for breakfast in the morning, we want them to be eating fruits and vegetables instead. And we want to make a difference in their diet, right? So we want them to have lifelong, sustainable, nutritious choices, right? So they're starting now, and then hopefully as they go throughout their future and into adulthood, they're getting better. And then again, encourage that nutritious snacking. And then, of course, all of our snacks need to be accompanied by nutrition education, which I take care of, and I will get to that on the next slide. So how do we implement this? Everything is procured through Brajota's, which John has helped with tremendously. The storage and distribution is at Prospect and Seneca kitchens, as well as in our basement and our freezers and refrigerators. Our food service staff, they manage the ordering and the portioning of the snacks, and sometimes Brajota's will do that for us too. For example, I'm going to show you a mango video in just a second, and there's a bag, everything is pre-portioned, sliced and diced and ready for the kids to eat. But sometimes it might be an orange that's difficult for Prospect students to peel. So food service staff make sure that that's taken care of and makes it a little bit easier to consume. Every month, a snack calendar is posted on SharePoint. So for those of you who do not check SharePoint every day, like us district employees do, as soon as you open up your laptop, when you go to the home page, our SharePoint page pulls up and you can see all the things that are going on throughout the district. And teachers can go to our food page, and then the snack calendar's there. I'll show you that in just a second. At Seneca School, I lead the nutrition education lessons. I integrated my health class because I teach classes 4th through 7th grade. So any fruit or vegetable that they'll be consuming that day, I will just give them a quick little rundown of, nutrition and why we should eat it, how the fruit or vegetable grows. Then at Prospect, I create Canva presentations for the students. So if you want to go to the next slide, or actually, I'm sorry, go to the SharePoint page, I will show you. All right, so this is the SharePoint page that I was talking about, if you just want to scroll down for me. This just explains everything to the teachers, what's going on with our grants, the fresh fruit and vegetable program. They know all of this. We've been doing it since the beginning of the school year. And then what they do is they'll scroll down and find the fruit or vegetable that we're eating that day underneath the nutrition education videos. Everything is outlined there. When we first started this, I put the date just so that teachers knew, okay, this date we're having this snack. Now, sometimes these fruits or vegetables are, we have them, had them multiple times throughout the year. So now they can just go back and click on that video that was created. If you want to click on the video one. So this is just an example of what I do for Prospect. So I create a Prospect video presentation. And in the video, I just go over nutrition facts. I have a video of myself showing them what the fruit or vegetable looks like, talking about nutrition, why we should eat it. I make sure to show different types of growing stages of the fruit or vegetable, and just so that they know, like, hey, this is how it grows. What climate does it grow in? Tropical climate for mangoes, just so that they have a full picture of what they're eating and the nutritional value. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. So while that's pulling up, that's the gist of our fresh fruit and vegetable program. Basically, it's a grant funded program provided by New York State, and students pre-K through 6th grade are offered fresh fruits and vegetables twice a week. And whenever this pulls up, you'll see that our next steps are to grow this program. We hope next year that we will be able to provide fresh fruits and vegetables 3 days a week. So instead of Tuesday, Thursdays, we're aiming for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Thanks.
Y'all have any questions for me?
So how do you go about growing it then for next year? This is reapplying for grant, trying to get more grant funding, how does that work?
Yes. So Sandy will work at that with the fresh fruit and vegetable program grants and hopefully grow the amount of money that we get so we can provide more vegetables for the kids.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Ms. Hager, would you want to mention the book now too, when you were up there? All right. Okay. I love your t-shirt too, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Well, I have to plug my husband here. I was like, I'm presenting to the board. Do I need to wear like, a collared button down shirt? He's like, no, wear your vegetable shirt.
There you go.
Yes, Jake. So in front of you, you have a book called The Wild Robot, and we, Nikki actually presented this program called Read to Them over the summer. And Read to Them, if you don't know about it, Read to Them is a literacy program that helps promote literacy within schools, buildings, districts, and in communities. So we are partnering with Read to Them for the One District, One Book initiative. And what it is basically everyone in our entire district, from pre-K all the way through 12th grade, our food service, our maintenance department, all of our teachers, all of our staff, our board members, we're all going to be reading the same book. And the goal behind it is to promote literacy within the district and within the community. We just want to celebrate reading, and we want to give our kids and our parents and all of our community members something to collaborate and celebrate literacy together with. So the goal is to get the reading done in May, when we are done with our testing, have something to celebrate at the end of the year, and then hopefully, once everyone has read the book, we will celebrate at That's with the movie night under the lights. We do plan to incorporate the local library, the Allegheny State Park, and some other community partners. Yeah, so I hope everyone enjoys it. It's a really cute book, and there's a movie. So
That's you can do a book report, have a full
perfect.
report for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's also on Spotify and Audible.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thank you. Okay, next on our list is the 8th grade STEAM and business program.
That's a little stretch.
All right. Hi there, I'm Cheryl Johnson. This is Xander Edstrom. We are running the high school STEAM room. As most of you probably know, all students pre-K through 7th grade go to STEAM as a special. But when they come up to the high school, the hope is that they will have had some experiences and now they want to get into the STEAM room. And we have found that our high school teachers have fully embraced utilizing that room. So our goal tonight is to show you progress from last year to this year, how many more teachers are using it, and then just to give you a bunch of projects that have happened and are happening this year. So Xander's going to talk to you about the first 3 slides, and I'll hand it over to you.
All right, my name is Alexander Estrom. I'm a TA in the STEAM room. So last year I was actually hired as a TA to take over for some of the STEAM stuff, to kind of take that bearing off of Ms. Johnson. So last year I did some stats on who used the STEAM room. And we had 12 teachers that utilized the STEAM room last year. And actually this year we actually doubled our teachers in groups that have used it. So those teachers that were using it have either began to use the same project or new projects through this school year. And it seems like a lot of the teachers are always coming back to do something new. And we love to see something new every time it comes in. So the next slide is some of the projects that they do. This is just kind of a grouping of everything that teachers have done with us, whether it's a VR headsets, doing breakout boxes that has become a big hit lately, CNC machines, engraving, sandbox, augmented realities, welding, all the things that is in the STEAM room is being utilized on a weekly basis. If you can go to the next slide for me. So the next slide shows that this year, the room usage per month by percentages has actually probably doubled since last year. For September and January, the numbers are low because those are the months that we come back to school from either breaks or summer. Actually, March this year has been utilized 96%.
Like double booked though.
Yes, so even teachers that have the room signed out, other teachers are signing the room out on the periods that are free. So we are double booking, and even the times that we don't have anybody in there, it is us breaking down the stuff and getting the next things prepped up for the next teacher to come in. So yeah, that is kind of how busy the STEAM room has gotten, with just a year difference. And I am in love that we have had the opportunity and everybody that has used it as teachers in the high school. We want to show recognition to you, because without that, then students don't get that STEAM technology base on their side. So yeah, Ms. Johnson will go over some of the activities that we've gone through, and everything that the teachers have done.
Yeah, so thank you, Xander. We find that when the kids come in, they get so excited. They're like, how long are we in here? So even though last year we only had 12 teachers sign out the room, a lot of times those teachers were in there for 2 weeks. They were like, oh, my kids love it in here. We're going to stay in here to do as much as we can. So yeah, so this year we found that a lot of teachers are double booking. But so I just want to show you that projects that were new this year. I showed you, I think I did a presentation last year with Fort Canale on what had happened last year. So this year, this was such a fun and exciting project that we did with 8th grade math in WL. We put a massive, it was a 40-foot by 40-foot grid down on the floor in the STEAM room. WL's kids came in, they plotted different buildings for a city. They were given slopes and they had to plot using the coordinates and the slope. They put a river in there and they put roads in there. They were told create another road that's parallel to this one or perpendicular to this one. And so you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, that was the end of their city. And they had this big open area in the bottom left corner. And they were like, we're putting in a park. So they put in a big lake down there. This took about a week to build this city. And then on the last day, they met with Labella Engineering Firm and the city planners, and they learned about careers in urban development. And they learned that UB has a program and what an urban planner can make. They also were given input by the urban planners. They're like, well, let's take a look at where your sewage treatment plant and your water treatment plant is. They're like, which one do you want downriver and which one do you want upriver? The kids are like, "Ooh, we're gonna just. So it was a great life experience for them. Next slide. 8th grade STEAM camp. So during Regents Week, 8th graders don't need to really be out of school, but it's tough if they're in school and there's Regents exam. So the 8th grade team created a STEAM camp and the kids came in and you can see in the upper right-hand corner, that's a lockbox. I had a history theme to it and the kids had to work out 5 different puzzles to open these locks. And when they got inside the box, you can see in the bottom left corner, they had a little sign, "We broke out." It took them probably 2 days.
2 days.
2 days to get through all of those. And it was a couple hours each day. And of course, there was candy inside. It was fun and all that. Some of the other things that they did while they were there is they, in the upper left-hand corner, they used a little robot and the different colored maps are left, right, certain angles, and they navigated through that puzzle. And I think the next page has a few other things that they were doing that week. They played around with augmented reality. You can see the student was manipulating something on the computer. They flew drones, they programmed, they built a little robot, and then they coded it. So they got a little taste of STEAM thing. Next slide. Well, Mac already talked about this one. I got some up close pictures. I really thought more kids would leave the room when this was happening. And no, the entire crew of biology, every kid taking biology, they were in there. They wanted pictures with it. They wanted their hands on it. So this was fascinating. Thankfully, the steam room was built with an amazing ventilation system. So we fired that thing up and it just kind of got the smell out of there. So that probably helped, but good integration with that. Our next slide. Brooke Canale and her 10th grade history students. This is a new project that Brooke developed this year. When she started World War II, she had her students read the book Code Talking. And the first half of the book talks about boarding schools. Second half of the book talks about, and it's fictional, but about one of the Navajo code talkers. So she brought her kids into the STEAM room and we taught them all kinds of code. They learned how to code in binary with 1s and 0s. They learned how to use cipher wheels. That's in the bottom right-hand corner. They had to pull quotes out of the book and they had to code it with one of the different types of codes. Hand it over to another student who had to decode it. The big project was they had to write their own type of code, like come up with their own secret code. And one day they invited teachers and students from all different classes to come and work on decoding. And I couldn't believe how many teachers came in that day. They wanted to try and decode them. And then we also had a lot of fun in the bottom left-hand corner of that picture. We used Raspberry Pis, which are just tiny little computers. And you can plug in your code and it would digitally send it to another person across the room to their computer. That person would get the coded message and they had to decode it. So that was an amazing project. And that was a brand new one that she came up with. She still is doing 3D printing in her Atrocity Museum and merge cubes and all that kind of stuff. Our next one, another new project from this year. Virtual reality. So the school purchased 15 virtual reality headsets. And Owen's over here like holding his stomach. He gets a little sick when he gets into them. But our Spanish teacher latched onto it. She's like, I want to take my kids on a tour. And so they went to Barcelona. And there were 9 different tourist attractions that the kids sat there. And I mean, it was all the way around them. Saved every family like a $500. And history, and I'll talk a little bit about that maybe in a later slide, but history is using it to also tour all these different places that they're talking about. Slide. There's only like 50 more, don't worry. Animation still is a favorite. Lots of people are still using animation. We had a few science teachers latch onto it this year, and you can see the kids were creating animations with plate tectonics. This was one of those, we were double booked, so we just put it on a cart and brought it to the teacher's room. Next slide. So medieval days. 9th grade students, when they were learning about medieval days, they came down to the STEAM room. They could use a VR headset to take a tour of some ruins, different castles. They made water wheels, so water mills. We had just piles of junk, and they had so much fun. There was so much hot glue going on down there. They also created battering rams. And then we tested them. We built a little wall. They had to knock them down. And they also built catapults. And so lots of things were launched. Marshmallows and puffballs. Next one.
They also did 3D printing on that as well,
Oh,
using
Siege.
Yeah,
Siege towers.
Siege towers.
Yeah, they designed their own
They
siege
designed their
towers.
siege towers. They tested it out, putting it through something and allowing their bridge to come down from 3D printing.
And then just here at the end, I wanted to touch on what Sean Howard is doing. He's our high school technology teacher. Sean, when he was hired a few years ago, he's looking at all of this different equipment that we had in the STEAM room. And he's like, who knows how to use this? And we were like, you will. And so he has taken it on, and each year he has really learned a new big piece of equipment, and he's got his classes in there all the time. So even though classes are in there doing projects, you can come in and his kids are in and out of the room the entire time. And what I love is that his students will stop what they're doing and help another class with their project. So his group of kids, they're getting pretty proficient with the CNC machine, which it mills out metal, primarily aluminum. You can see the middle picture on the top. They were laser engraving, so laser cutting, laser engraving. We got an enormous laser engraver this year. His kids have just been pivotal in helping students. You can see Sean sitting there with his students. They're looking at a picture, I know it's far away. They're looking at a picture of a project. They cut out parts of a sunflower on the plasma cutter, and then he taught the kids how to weld, and now they're welding it together. And I hope I'm not spoiling any of Mother's Day gifts that they're giving, but, and then you can see on the bottom, students were learning how to use the sandblaster. So his kids are doing a lot of work in this STEAM room. And our last slide, is kind of looking towards the future. The school, we still are teaching drones. We're gonna take a little bit of a different look at it. We're hopefully purchasing a drone soccer arena, and it's 5 drones on each team, and it looks like Quidditch. There's all these soccer balls flying around in the air, and they have to score on each other. It's a ton of fun, and we're also going to be offering a new robotics class next year, playing around with our Vex robotics and all of our WASD stuff. And tomorrow we're actually going to go take a look. We're hoping to get a CNC, like a milling machine, a tabletop milling machine. We do have a handheld one. But that's kind of what's happening in the STEAM room. Did I hopefully keep it to my 10 minutes? Any questions?
I just wanted to note that if my math is correct, and I know have all of the teachers assigned correctly, of the 24 teachers that were there this year, 13 are not science, technology, art, or math teachers,
Yeah.
which I think is terrific.
Yeah, I can't believe how much they're latching onto it.
So the teachers are asking to come, like, to come use the classroom?
Yeah, we usually, so we have on SharePoint, we have a spot where teachers can go in and sign up on the calendar, and they can check off, do they need assistance? Do they need a teacher there to help them? And they oftentimes will come down, consult with us. I want to do a project with this. What do we have? What can we do? And Xander and I will brainstorm with them, and then just it grows from there. Lock boxes, math kids were in doing lock boxes today. They were hysterical running around the room trying to find out.
Corey Palmer out there.
Yeah.
Been working on it.
it.
Yeah, she's been working on a lot of the
Yes,
Right,
you
yeah.
can hear a lot this year.
That's what that you meant by the
Yep.
box.
Yep. Yep, it's just an escape room, but as a box itself, and we utilize the steam room by allowing kids to find out how to decode and solve the keys to unlock their box.
And a lot of collaboration goes on, and there, I love when a student learns how to use a piece of equipment, they want to be the one who teaches everybody else how to use it.
Sounds great. Okay, next on our agenda is business, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Billy Brazil. I am one of the business teachers here at the high school. Sue Schaffer.
Matt Cole.
That's us. I did add Sean and, John to it because even though they're tech, we work together like, as the business department, they're with us, so even though they're tech, like, they're on there, so I will touch base a little bit, not as, in detail as, Cheryl worked a little bit. So the classes I teach right now are Introduction to Computer Art and Design, Computer Graphics 2, Sports and Entertainment Marketing, and Career and Financial Management.
I teach entrepreneurship. I teach computer application software, which is the Microsoft Office suite. I teach computer applications 1 and 2. One is a JCC course. New for next year, we're going to be teaching some AI incorporated into that course. And then the second course is just a follow-up to the first course. We also added a Microsoft Word and Excel course this year, which is focusing just on those 2 pieces of Microsoft Office Suite for the science department. Career and Financial Management, which we all teach. And Introduction to Business, which is also a JCC course. And I also, I don't know if you have it on there, College and Career Portfolio, which we work alongside NIFIC, which is the Niagara Frontier Industry and Education Council, to provide students with ECC college credit for general studies, as well as a portfolio, and they go to a competition, which will be coming up soon. Students are going to move on to be interviewed for a scholarship of up to $5,000.
And I teach a couple of classes, career and financial management. I teach 2 units of those in a day. I teach an internship class, which is a great class for kids to get some hands-on work experience in the school, whether it's in food services or in the gym room, and just taking what they might want to do as a career and then trying to align them with teachers here and get some good experience. I teach an accounting class, which is an ECC course, a college credit course, personal finance class, which is a high-level financial course. A lot of the juniors and seniors take that, taught through JCC, and then a hospitality and tourism course, which is also offered through JCC.
John McCauley teaches the 8th grade technology and a separate technology course. Right now he wanted to just kind of mention that he is working on using hand tools, power tools, and machines, and he will be coming up soon. They'll be making their CO2 cars with the 8th grade technology. Sean teaches design and drawing, electricity, transportation systems, MCT, AutoCAD, solid modeling, principles of engineering, and those last 3 are all with JCC credit. Right now, students can earn 10 college credits through his JCC courses through his classes, and he also wanted to point out, I know Cheryl mentioned it, that he is working with the CNC machines right now as well. So one of the things we really kind of wanted to touch base on as the business department is the personal finance requirement that is coming up. It is an instructional requirement, and the state's implementing, they're just saying we have to do it and we can choose how we implement it. And I actually just had there was like a Zoom meeting today that kind of got into some details. So there's a lot more information rolling out. There's a lot of resources coming out that it'll help any New York State school with this process because it's K through 12.
So right now at the high school, 9 through 12, the implementation needs to begin with the 2026 and 2027 school year.
Except that we did implement it this year
Yes.
with our career financial
We
management.
did.
class.
We have a preemptive strike. So we, a few years ago, when we were working on our CTE recertification, yes, thank you. We were trying to figure out how to do this because we heard, this is coming. Maybe we should try to figure something out. So we actually decided to combine financial management, career planning, and keyboarding into one full year course instead of 3 one-semester courses. And we started that this year. So we're already ahead of that curve. We started it this year instead of implementing it next year. And then the good thing about that is, even though it's financial management that has that requirement in it, they're going to take it and they're going to get the career planning, and they're going to get the keyboarding and reinforcing of the other programs. So if they don't take something like MLS with Sue, they are getting some basic Microsoft Word and Excel lessons in there. And we, all 3 of us teach that class.
And I think one of the important things too is because we have almost every freshman enrolled
Yeah.
between our 5 classes, what it's already allowing us to do is then present future classes that they can take. So it's helping our counselors out a bunch, because now, like, instead of trying to convince them, hey, what is personal finance? Like, even an accounting class that might make sense to us, it doesn't necessarily make sense to the students with what they're gonna get into. So it's just a great launching pad to be able to get all these kids in at an early age, because it helps build out the business department later. So I think we're already seeing the benefits of that for this year, and then even for next year, which a lot of our courses are getting. So.
And we use Dave Ramsey. I don't know how many of you know Dave Ramsey, but we use the Dave Ramsey curriculum for that. Right now, my class is talking about insurance. And so students are really getting a full-blown finance program where they're talking about everything from college loans, scholarships, to when they grow up, what kind of insurance do they need. It's been very eye-opening for a lot of the kids. So we do have 9th graders to 12th graders in that class. But Nat brought that Dave Ramsey curriculum to us. And I think we all think that's been very beneficial for kids.
And I don't have a photo, but I was actually down in Nashville a couple weeks ago, so I spent the entire day with the Ramsey team. And they were really impressed, just hearing from the school that's starting to implement a lot of these state regulations that are coming down. Because a lot of the schools, like Sue said, they're not putting it in until the 26, 27 calendar year. They're just kind of like slow rolling it. So for us to jump into that as one of the first schools to actually do it district-wide. So it was just great to spend a day with those guys. They're building out a ton of stuff, which I think in the coming years for future courses we can even offer. But it's a great curriculum. They're excited about what we're doing as a school. So it was great to spend a day with those guys down there. And Nashville wasn't that city either.
The print shop we have down there, always evolving. It's currently ran through DECA right now, and I just really quick want to say thank you to Jen, who has been helping and teaching me, just kind of the process that they do now through the DECA program for any like prints that need to go out. But what we're looking forward to also is, this next year coming up, we're working on it being its own entity. We're working on the process, funding plans, and et cetera. If there's a lot to do, I've just recently started meeting with Josie a little bit, so we can start like asking the questions and kind of seeing where we want it to go, and then, come up with some more meetings and more questions later. We're always evolving to mirror the industry. We're getting students ready for college or career. That's the goal for the print shop also.
As a jump start to that, I think all 3 of us have been taking classes down to the print shop. We've been doing laser engraving, did t-shirt printing, just trying to get our business students down there, get their hands in on what's happening there a little bit. Yeah.
So the ultimate goal, like in my mind for the print shop, is we want to put out quality and quantity. I would really love to see a purchase of a new transfer printer, which I did put in for my wish list, reflected for the budget coming up. I put in also to start a print shop class for the 2026-2027 school year.
And as far as I know, I do have a couple of students signed up for that already. And, ultimately we'd like it to be a student ran print shop. And I just really also wanted to touch base a little bit, on our CTE endorsements. Right now, we do have computer application software that, Sue's, like, the CTE, like, is, like, there's the lead teacher on it, so she teaches the computer application software class that the kids get that, and we all teach, like, the career and financial management, which is part of the credit they'd have to take in order to get the CTE endorsement. Matt teaches accounting, and like Matt said earlier, we always are pushing for student enrollment, not only with CTE endorsed pathways, but all business courses. All the time I'm telling kids about other courses that they could take if they really like what we did here, say Moz with Sue, because you'll really get into the details of what Word and Excel can do, because it is so much. And as much as I'm teaching you, it really just is nothing compared to what the programs really can do. The CTE pathway has to be approved by New York State, so we have a vigorous approval process. We have to put together around 4 courses and classes that students would take that would lead up to college and career portfolio, which is their capstone. And then when they finish that pathway, they do get a nice seal on their diploma from New York State, as well as some type of certifications. Matt has the NOCD exam, so if they're taking the accounting pathway, they can get certified in accounting. For me, they get us certified in Word, PowerPoint, Excel. In the first section, they get their specialist exam, and then if they go on to the second part, which is part of the pathway 2, they can get their advanced certifications in Word and Excel. So when they're going out to the business world or even to college, you know, they have a certification to take out with them. So it's a pretty powerful program for our students. And we really would love to see more students take advantage of that, whether you're going into the business world or not. Having those endorsements show that you can complete a program of study, that you can be dedicated, and that you can excel. So they're pretty powerful statements when students are moving on into any career.
And Microsoft is the staple in the offices, so I really wish that program a lot. Any questions?
I got a couple. Will the print shop be open similar to the steam room before? Will it be open to classes if they want to do some sort of embroidery sort of thing? Is that available?
I'm hoping yes. That ultimately, yes, that is the goal. So if other classes wanted, just like with the 3D machines, we wanted to do something with that, and they wanted to do, like you said, the embroidery machine or make t-shirts for something like that. Yes, I would really like to open up and utilize as much as we can utilize it.
Another question. After your final goal has been seen, it's open, it's being done, student run. Will the students be getting paid, or will they be volunteering their time like they do with fundraisers, like sessions?
Even right now, there are students that are staff, they get paid to work in the print shop. So I would like to continue that. I don't have the power to prove it, but I would hope that we can continue something like that.
I do.
And that's so, yeah. So if like an order came in and they were working on it during the print shop class or whatever the case may be, but we had to work after hours, then the student workers would come in and be able to work on this project as well.
Thank you.
How many full college, approximately, like how many college credits? I see you guys offer a lot of different classes like that. How many, what's a senior student who left you guys is? Like, so they're essentially cutting out a lot of time.
Yeah, for me, it's a total of 9 credits.
I have 10.
That was 10. But Sean is only 10. So I mean, there's a lot of students that could be in their sophomore year.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, because I mean, I just went back to school, went back, in the last couple of years and, because of whatever, I had to start all over at Microsoft and all these classes, and, that would have, and just thinking of any person that's going back, graduating high school and going on to college, you're gonna graduate at least credits already, you're already cutting your time down right there, and you can, it's all on other
Yeah.
things.
Unfortunately, a lot of kids don't see the value in,
Yeah, right
get
now.
out of the way, and,
You know, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, right.
so I wanna just talk about my boys for a second, because they took a lot of the JCC classes when they were here, and they went into music. So a lot of their courses didn't necessarily fall into their program of study, not necessarily even cutting off time, where some students it will. What it did do for them was it promoted them at college. They're technically seniors. This is their second year of college because of the credits that they took from here. It gives them some benefits. It gives them additional financial aid. It gives them priority in scheduling. And it just builds their transcript for other things that they might do in the future. So benefits for both. Might cut off time, might teach you skills like right now when they use the Microsoft Office suite, they know what they're doing. But the registering and the access to additional financial aid, because you get 5,500 your first 2 years, 6,500 your junior year, 7,500 your senior year. So you get access to additional money quicker when you take in more college classes.
Right. And you said the good, like employers like to see, you started something, you seen it through, and you finished it, you got that seal, whatever it might be. And it's just good for your resume and life skills.
Building a resume is super important. A lot of students don't realize when they're leaving here to have a resume with some skills, with some experience on it, can help them, even just getting a part-time job when they're in college. So there's a lot of benefits to what we're doing.
Another question. When do these classes become available to students?
Usually 10th grade.
10th grade?
Most of them, some of them have some prerequisites that may not be until their junior year, but a lot of them, like my intro to business class, I have 10th graders taking it. And they have to be able to take, what do they call that? When they register co-requisite, right? They may have to be able to take an English at the same time or something like that, or they may have had a certain math previously, like the Microsoft Office suite because of Excel. They have to have certain math requirements. So it really just depends on the student, but usually around 10th grade, usually by 11th grade for sure.
Would it be feasible to get a vast majority of the college credits given by these courses?
Well, anytime you're getting anything for free, it's a benefit, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're,
It's time and schedule.
it's time you
That's
schedule,
Yeah.
it then depends, really on the student, on what they're also taking, if they're going off to BOCES, it's a little bit harder. If they're in the music, sometimes it's a little more difficult. It's really an elective class, so it depends on, like 10th grade, sometimes is a tough year to get a little bit extra, and it just depends on the student's schedule. But yeah, I mean, instead of sitting in a study hall, why not take Microsoft Office and get college credits, right? Agreed.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Really great stuff.
Well,
Okay,
for giving
thanks,
us a
thanks,
chance.
guys. Oh, what is our objective presentation?
I'm gonna go move on for you.
Well, once you're coming down, I'm just gonna start it. My bro is like walking out on us. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to work with the great group of kids I get to work with. Really, this is just a small picture. This is the competition team minus Morgan. Morgan's an 8th grader and she stepped in. One of our competition team members is in Niagara Falls doing some military stuff. So I'm gonna let Mel actually take this and run with it. I may jump in off and on because I know there's a few things that the business department spoke about. And I just want to piggyback on that. So Ron, take us away.
So my name is Ron Swenson. I'm a member of DECA. This is my 2nd year going to competition. And that's unusual, but due to, thank you, Ms. Hawkins, for giving me the opportunity. I want to say that before our presentation. So what is DECA? DECA prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs for careers in marketing, finance, and hospitality. as well as management in high schools and colleges around the globe. It connects classroom learning to real-world business through competitive events, leadership development, and networking for over 300,000 members.
I do want to stop in and say, one thing we have done at the school this year, DECA paid for the business students to have access to Competition U, which is a business computer program. And what it did was allow us to come as a group of one. And so DECA paid for that. We also paid for every student's membership. That was a business class minus the 8th graders. All right, so that's why we had that huge growth. Go ahead, Ron.
So last year, we had only 9 members. This year, we have 83. The change is due to combining business classes with DECA membership. Our DECA paid for that too, because you have to pay. But the big plus to every student in our business courses being a DECA member is it's used in the classroom. DECA Plus can be used anytime. Our active members who are coming to meetings average between 3 to 12 students at each meeting. We have meetings fairly often. We have 18 active members who have come to meetings or respond often to emails.
We also have a presence in Schoology, so every student that is a member of DECA also has a Schoology class where they can access any of our DECA material.
My name is Laura Clayson. I am the vice president of our DECA club, and I am a senior, and this is my second year in the program. DECA, how DECA is currently working, what DECA is involved in with the school. DECA is currently in charge of the school store, which it's open second period every day, guys. Stop in, you'll see my lovely face in there every day. Please stop in. As long as they follow guidelines, students must put in an application with staff references and their availability. They train with the school store worker. So I trained, Julina has trained most of us as she really knows the stuff well. When they are ready to be on their own, they can work during study halls or before and after school. We prefer them to work in pairs. So I actually work with one of our other students that's here tonight, Shirley Vandroff, second period in Mr. Kolb's internship class. All business students are able to work without applying, as well as DECA members. Students are not allowed to be on ELOC, detention, ISS, OSS to be able to work in the school store. DECA is also in charge of the print shop at this time, but will soon be transitioning into the business department. Currently, orders are taken, then billed by the financial advisor for DECA. Student workers and students in business classes currently fill the orders. So expectations for the DECA members. DECA members are first expected to follow school and DECA rules. We provide practices and materials to help students who want to compete. DECA members should be attending meetings once a month. We usually have at least one, then practice for the competition team members. DECA members work in the school store during study halls or special event openings. DECA members are expected to fundraise and vote on items that we need to make decisions on as a club. Officers for DECA. Our president is Julina Hawkins. She runs the meetings, meets with advisors to plan out meetings, sends emails to members as needed, and to meet with other officers as needed. As I said, I am the vice president. I assist in organizing the meetings, running the meetings if the president's absent, and I assist in sending emails with the approval from the club and our advisors. We have 2 secretaries, which are our secretaries are Jaden Pierce and Paxton Kierswell. They take the main notes. Our co-treasurer is Zoe Alvarez Fluent and Paloma Sandel. They keep the finances in check, meet with the advisor to go over any financial items coming in or going out. They recount the deposits and sign off on any of the sheets that we have to have.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Shen, and I'm a senior at Salamanca High School. This is my first year doing DECA, and I must say, I wish I had done it earlier. So our competition team, it consists of 5 people. We have 3 seniors. We have Nora Clayson, Mary Chen, which is me, and we also have Maya Woods, who's not here today. But we also have a junior, Jelena Hawkins, and we have a freshman, which is Rowan. So, okay. So a couple months back, our competition team, we were able to go to a regional competition at Alfred State, where we basically compete at a higher level other than like running the school store or doing simple things as what DECA Clubs does. And not only did we win awards, we came back with an overall winner, which is Jelena Hawkins, with a $500 to Alfred State College. And we also have a 3rd place, we have Maya Woods, which is also a first year senior. And it's her first year in DECA, and she did amazing. And so, yeah, and it was really honestly an amazing experience. Like I said, also the food is also amazing. Throw that out there. But yeah, like I said before, I really wish I did DECA earlier, because not only did it provide more knowledge in business, it allowed me to do hands-on work in the business industry. And for someone that's a senior and going to college for business, I wasn't sure on what business I wanted to do, and I was able to determine that after going to regionals.
Let's begin this section. So this is SCC. It is our time at state competition. This is our state competition. During this, we did a competition where we actually met with the judge, and we're given 10 minutes prior to take notes on a prompt. You are to take those notes into your judge and present their solution to the issue they are having in their business. While we are there, we don't only do the competition and testing, but we also network with other students from other schools, as well as with the judges themselves sometimes. And we have fun. Our Thursday night, we had a trivia and ice cream social, which I don't know where we pictures of it from. And it was a lot of fun. It was just a bunch of foods where you could win prizes. Do you have anything to add?
My favorite part of DECA is the social experience. You get to meet people from other schools that are also interested in business. There may be a lot of DECA members, but what I'm particularly interested in, there isn't too many people around here with that interest. What DECA does for me is it gives me an opportunity to talk to people who are interested in what I'm interested in.
That's the fun part about states too.
Yes, yeah.
There were over 30 seniors in states, so there was a lot of people for Rowan.
Oh, come on.
So my favorite part of it would have to be, like, I love meeting all the new people, but it's the public speaking elements I get from it. Like, I'm not nervous when I speak in front of a group now. And getting to go and stand in front of a judge and just being like, not knowing anything about and having 5 minutes just have to talk to that judge is really helped with my public speaking and my confidence of, okay, this is what's gonna happen, my quick thinking skills.
So my favorite part, like Rowan said, it was definitely the amount of people that were there and also the diversity. I know that my family is the only Asian family in this town right now. And when we went to states, there were so many people that looked like me, and so many people that I could talk to and understood my culture. And obviously I love Native culture. I just made a ribbon dress actually. But it was just so nice to see people that look like me and have people that I can bond over certain things with.
Oh, yes.
So competition results. So we had some really good, exciting competition results. So it first started off on our opening night. We were the #1 chapter in growth in the whole New York State with over 492.96%. Julia Hawkins was inducted into the DECA Honor Society, which is a very big thing to be inducted in, as you must be a 3-year member, business grade average over 93, and honor roll for your other classes. Jelena also placed top 10 in testing in the category of food services.
Okay, so ICDC is the national competition that I am allowed to go to. Coming with through an academy spot. It is a national competition for members in the top 7 spots of marketing areas, with students who attend workshops, go on evening excursions, and get awards for competition. ICDC is the limitations of the DECA year. It's the end of it for a lot of students. More than 25,000 high school students attend.
Yeah, we mentioned that 25,000. New York State alone, we are in a hotel by ourselves. Where when we go to states, like there's like 7 or 8 different, districts with us. This is just all New York State in one Marriott. I can't even imagine.
The way I'm going is to be multi-leader series. It's a male leadership development program featuring Ignite Academy, which helps members ignite their passion for DECA and maximize their potential in the future that they have. These programs are designed for high-performing and early career members. It offers workshops, networking, and professional skill building areas like collaboration, communication, and public speaking.
And I get to go to class too. Well, she's in class. Actually, I have to work one event and then I get to go to classes. And some of the things I'm going to be able to bring back to the business department is how to implement the DECA curriculum into their plans. How to make it more in there. Because like when we went to states, some of the kids are telling us like the first half an hour of their classes, they do role plays. And they're taking the #1 and #2 spots. So now we're going, so how do we implement that into our 42-minute period and not take away from what needs to be taught? So we're trying to come up with some ideas on that, whether it be, we meet every day. Right now, when we go into competition, we meet 2-3 times a week before we go to competition practicing. And we practice as long as they want to practice. I'll stay till 5, 6, whatever. And we'll just keep going over role play. But I'm really excited to see what I'm gonna learn there, to be able to bring it back to the table for the business department as well.
So what's our vision for next year's DECA program? We want to upgrade the items that we have in the school store, bring new items that will create interest in going in there. We're trying to make some DECA introduction videos for the lawyer wake up, to play this one going announcement, to kids actually an idea of what DECA is. If you just heard DECA, you're gonna have no idea that it's a business model that's fostering the education and not only the possible future in going to business, but also the ability to speak publicly and very open environments easily. So here Junior. So this is an opportunity to be involved in a DECA and have them run through meetings, scenarios, and give them that understanding of what it is. So after discussing it with my advisors, we came to the conclusion that we would provide the younger audience with an overview that would help to prepare them for 9th grade and the goals that are complete. So they would end up shadowing experienced DECA members, like my colleagues, and they would allow the young participants to get an insight into how these competitions work, how to be an active participant within the material,
and they also get to know the basics of DECA. They also get light concepts of business early on that will not just be beneficial to them upcoming time within this program, but they will also get the insight if this is something they want to do in their future. So what this does for these 7th and 8th grade students, it's going to end up building confidence, boosting participation skills, making them more confident to give their opinions within their group and preparation for a competition. This will help them leading to be successful within their high school years, within classrooms, and they also get to that early sense of eagerness to be in such a prestigious program. So overall, a program like this can be very influential for interested young members. And if a program like this was around when I first joined DECA, I was given the opportunity to go and compete. But even with a lot of practice and being surrounded by such influential members, I was not ready. So I didn't take the opportunity to go. But if a program like this was around, it would have prepared me and others for what it's actually like, and it would have helped to build confidence to go and compete. And the goal of DECA Junior overall is to have young, passionate students be immersed in what the program is.
So kind of what the thought is, we are in a different kind of environment here because we're 8 through 12. So Jelena went as an 8th grader and she did really pretty well as an 8th grader. But people were like, "You're 17, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm in 8th grade." And then last year it happened to Rowan as an 8th grader. So what we're thinking is we would love to kind of grasp these kids at like in 7th grade, because 7th grade, they're not fully invested into the high school experience with all these things that are open to them. But at least we could start kind of exposing them to DECA and building that. And then with the 8th graders, it gives them that extra year of just coming in to be able to train, alongside with the kids. And then that way, when the business classes then are starting to make their business classes, like with the 8th graders, when they do that class, then in 9th grade, they might be like, "Hey, you know what? I've already been in DECA for 2 years. I need to keep taking business classes." Because what happened was when we went to state, 2 of these kids mentioned, "Wow, I'm so glad I took that business class, because that really helped me during competition." So they really do go hand in hand. We're just trying to, like I said, we're trying to figure out that meshing and we're gonna get there. Go ahead, John, finish it off.
Okay, so we'll at state competition, we're talking to other students from other schools. I was talking to some of bigger New York City schools and just asking them what they do. Aside from the 30 minutes in class, they bring in business people from their area to come talk to them about how they have made their business successful and what they continue to do to improve their business. By having them discuss their occupations, we can get a true idea of what they are supposed to do, which will help us when we go to competition and we see the occupation title. The next thing that we want to do next year is getting the social media page ready. We would like to start a social media page through Levi, which would allow us to share when we open the store on Saturdays. This way, we're not just saying, "Oh, we're open," and no one reads about it. We want people to go, "I wonder when the school's open," and the school store is open, and actually look at the page and be like, "Okay, they're open this Saturday, and this time."
And really, we just wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity you've given all of these kids, because, without the board being behind us and people behind us, they would not be getting this opportunity. So we really do appreciate that.
All right.
Question?
I always have questions. I do not have questions. I'm gonna address this not to you, because this is training people for questions like these.
Okay.
Question you guys.
Okay.
So, you have 83 total DECA members. Well, 3 to 12 of them are 3 to 12 of them are active consistently. So that is a 1/4 or at best, and a less than 1/10
attendance rate from DECA members. Is there any plans to fix that?
So the AAC students does include the business class students who don't fully feel like in DECA always. Well, we should be trying to close that gap, and I do see that. Us being a solid group of students to begin with, and then maybe slowly expand it into teaching to the business classes and close them off.
And maybe pinpointing students, having teachers give student recommendations, like if Mr. Kolb was to say, I think Mary Chen is a very good student, I think she would excel very well at DECA is also something I think we're looking into. Also is having teacher recommendations on students who would go above and beyond and excel in our competition team and DECA program, because we're always looking for new members to go and compete with us.
And this is year one of doing it, so it's an experiment, so it's a ground level trying to grow.
Yeah. I understand that.
That is a
good question, though.
But a great question, the answer is.
Any other questions?
No.
Oh, great job.
Anything else? Yep.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, that concludes our presentation for tonight. Next on the agenda is our consent agenda. And that includes last meeting's minutes, some financial reports, some travel conferences and overnight trips. Do I need a motion to accept the or approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Tracy, second by Pat.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Okay, new business. This is a fun part, isn't it? The first item is a resolution to, what's it called, Mark?
This is a resolution related to the budget vote in May. So this is all of the, we'll call it legalese, I guess, that outlines what individuals will be voting for, the two propositions, as well as the open board member seat.
So I need a motion to approve the resolution. Motion by Brad. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Tad. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Okay, the next one is to accept a capital project phase 4.1 construction bid.
Can we alter the language on that to say approve the contract instead of accepting it? Approve the contract.
Approve the contract. Okay. Doing a motion to approve the contract. For construction project 4.1. Second. Okay, motion by Tad, second by Brad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Okay. SROs. We have a resolution to continue with the SRO program with the county. So I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Tracy, second. Second by Brad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Next item is to create a special revenue account for NACT. We need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Tracy, second. Second by Brad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, last item under new business is to accept a donation from Aaron and Matthew Swenson. And that's in the amount of $100 and a letter of appreciation be sent. So I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Tad. Second. Second by Brad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Okay, personnel. agenda is, there's one item on there. And that's to hire a person for a special education position. Sherry Moon. I need a motion.
Motion.
Need a second? Second, who's second? Kristen? Yep. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Do we have a person?
We do. I will ask Mrs. Berry.
All right.
Sat like right next to me. So this evening, we're pleased to introduce Ms. Sherry Moon, and thank you for sitting for all of our presentations and the case for what you're coming to. She's being recommended tonight for appointment as special education teacher at Seneca Intermediate. She brings over 20 years of experience in special education, serving students across a range of settings, including self-contained, small group instruction, specialized support. Most currently, she's working in a 6-on-1 classroom with young adults ages 16 to 20. During the interview process, it was extremely clear to all of us, that she demonstrates a strong commitment to meeting students where they are and helping them grow academically, socially, and emotionally. She shared some very clear examples of her ability to communicate effectively with families, colleagues, and support service providers, emphasizing collaboration and regular progress monitoring. Her experience, professionalism, and strong advocacy for students align well with our values in our district. We are very excited to Ms. Moon. Look forward to the dedication and care that she brings to us.
Good. You have a speech for us?
I'm excited. Right.
Great. Welcome aboard.
Glad to have.
Thank you. Okay, our next agenda item is just some information and reports. IEC committee meetings, meeting minutes. It looks like there's a bunch of transfers within Prospect Elementary of some TAs to some of the different grade levels. Correct. Okay. Capital project phase 4.5 summary and our enrollment numbers for the month and our upcoming events, which we have an IEC meeting coming up tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but first week in April. Spring break, of course, it's on everybody's radar right now. Voter registration is April 20th, so if you're not registered to vote in the district, it'll be the superintendent's office conference room will be open to accomplish that. And our next board meeting is April 21st, to be held right here at 5:30. So with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion by Brad, second by Tad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you, folks. Long meeting, but well worth it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Bye.